This video I'm going to title Mother Effing FFs. How can they call themselves Christians? Because they're not. Boasters, cowards will not enter the kingdom of heaven, and do not be deceived. So, heaven on earth is when you have that friendliness, but not being too friendly. So I'm laying on my back doing my stretching exercises, thinking I have to clean my house first on the internet and who I'm subscribed to, and put my home in order to know what I can control and that which I cannot control, which is rebellious against me, to remove, unsubscribe. I had to do that. There may still be one or two that are rebellious and that are not going to allow me to have that sense of control, not by manipulation, but by the Spirit. To say there's one thing being friendly and there's another thing being too friendly or too nosy, where you have politicians, governments, neighbours and workmates that start to stalk you, spy on you, turn up at your front door, turn up at your church, turn up at your bank. That is illegal. And yet they do it because they abuse positions of power. So that I cannot control. I want it out of my face, out of my way. Because to me, they're a criminal. To have that much power to investigate my past, my bank, my church, to even have the capacity to turn people against me and be the devil's advocate and say we're here to help you, when in fact they do more harm than help. But I had to prove my number one enemy wrong to say I'm not going to be afraid of anybody. Regardless of who I subscribe to, I should be able to keep my human rights and pinch myself and say I'm still here without having death threats or any other type of threat. So I have proven my number one enemy wrong to say it doesn't matter who I subscribe to, because it's educational on YouTube. However, it does matter to me the moment they start showing me disrespect and telltale signs that they have the power to flaunt the fact that they can invade someone's privacy, which is not right, which is disgusting. So, and yet there is no law that is being practiced for people who are claiming state benefits to say that we can be protected from having our privacy violated unless you're the working class or paying a lot of money privately to block those that violate my privacy. And so I'm not going to waste money from my private pocket to find someone that's going to make a lawsuit, because the enemy will always win when it comes to the legality of things, because of my poverty status and low income, and because of the current government dispossession of legal aid. So anyone that has the right to legal aid will still lose or be even more threatened for using legal aid. So it's made me angry, but not to the point that it's ruined my weekend. I'm not that angry, but I am angry enough to feel like I want to slap somebody's face, because I'm severely disabled. They're spying in my home, outside my home. There is no one I could approach until maybe when I am murdered. Then I could go to a detective. Anyone who has been on my side can then go to a detective and investigate by then, which is too late. So that's the severity of this. So how I found out that they are the devil's advocates is this hyper or too much energy of coming across as helpful and positive, and making it look coincidental that there is something positive that they are saying within the message. But it's not coincidental. It's something that they have copied from my information and made a video out of it and gotten away with it, and are still called Christians. How is that possible? Because I have not come into any verbal or written agreement or emotional agreement with them. I'm just saying I'm being friendly, but not too friendly. And I'm saying, this sounds like a deja vu. It sounds similar to me, but where did they get this information in the first place? So, for example, I've said on my social media that when I got married, I only had one marriage. It was in Florida. And, not knowing that I had been stalked for many, many years, ever since I had entered into a foster mum's home when I was 16 years old. I have been watched by the so-called devil's advocate. So they know exactly what places I've been to, every word I have uttered. That's how intense the spying is, as if I was a celebrity. But the irony of that is that I have never been a celebrity. And yet I have been ill-treated as though I have been a celebrity. Like followed everywhere, spied, abused, used, and competed against, which is something I never asked for. And this treatment has been forced on me by perpetrators who are obviously criminals that are in positions of power and authority. Apparently know more about my life than I do, as gods and goddesses. And also, I have noticed, after they've produced a video which has bits and pieces of my life in it, I mean, it's like new technology vampire that sucks up, rather than sucking blood, it consumes energy, information, and not emotional detachment, but emotional triggering. Or I don't even want to use the word triggering because that makes me sound like I'm a leftist. I don't want to use certain words that will make me sound like a right. I just want to use the word that would describe my humanity and me being part of a greater new creature in Christ. So I'm more than just human because I'm a new creature in Christ. But the fact that I had been emotionally and spiritually blinded to what the enemies know, it's actually better not to know what they know. For example, how they would attempt to emotionally stir me is saying, oh well, we can see that you have put something in your playlist that would use advertisements to look at products to perfume your home, for example, which is what I've done. And I've perfumed my home using eucalyptus oil or any other natural products to kill bugs, such as vinegar, alcohol, rather than using any other soap products and bleach products, which is more dangerous to the health. Now, I already knew that, for example, but then somebody else would come along to stir me and say, why did you subscribe to something so unnatural? You should have something more natural because you're doing self-harm and you're poisoning yourself by putting laundry detergent and salt and soap together to make your home perfumed. And I've said, I've never done that. I'm just getting the idea that I'm not going to use soap. I'm going to use salt and eucalyptus oil, which is natural. But there's certain things I want to hide, but the enemy is saying you're not allowed to hide it, and you're stupid for putting a mask on, we're going to uncover it. So it's so infuriating. I go on YouTube to find information that I may take bits and pieces out of it, but it does not mean I'm going to use the whole content. That's what it's there for, to educate myself and to put it in my playlist so that I can remind myself. However, they are more devious than that. They're not using fair services because they take my information without my permission, which goes against human rights and privacy violations. If they ask me for permission, I may be able to share a percentage of their business, or maybe have some money put into my account by donation, because they're sharing my information. That would be more respectful if YouTube can do that, but it doesn't do it. So the devil's advocate is advertising, subscribe to this channel, but if you do, you're going to be threatened, you're going to be insulted, and this AI system is going to attack you. Your finances, your automatic letters for your bills are going to be mismanaged and messed up because some fat cat or some evil dog is going to attack me continuously through the system of AI. Or any other system. It doesn't have to be the AI, because it could be any other system. So to help society, particularly the most vulnerable, mothers, true Christians, is to do more videos like this. To say, well, I have not been able to lay on my back, lift my leg in a certain way, or open my leg in a certain way to do my exercises, and now I can do it. They started, and I've put the wrong fishnet tights on to make me look sexy, and they don't like it. They are saying that the word sexy is a leftist thing, and if I use the word sexy, then I cannot be part of God's people, which is nonsense. So if I use the word attractive, that means I'm far right. If I use the word sexy, that means I'm the far left, which is more nonsense, but that is the situation. So What happens to those that don't know the English language and who are like the traditional film Eliza off of the streets? So now they're going to be dehumanized, devalued, demonized, and demoralized, and all the negative D's in the dictionary because of the language that they speak, which is totally wrong and oppressive. So I've deliberately done that, put the fishnet tights on, to make my audience assume that that is my favourite thing. But it isn't. Fishnet tights are not my favourite thing when it comes to wanting to make myself attractive to the opposite sex. That's why I've put it there, because I was sending an opposite message, which was part of the resurrection of Zacchaeus. And so the progressives and the multi-billionaires are the one who are using the same tactic to say the opposite of what they mean. And I've done that for a long time, ever since I've been on social media, because I know that they are the most aggressive and they're the most easily offended. And so I'm saying, what makes a stranger's offence more important than my offence? Because this is a free channel. I'm not asking anybody to pay me anything, and I'm not paying anyone. Therefore, I shouldn't have to be put in a situation where the people I have subscribed to are more offended than me. In that case, I will unsubscribe, which is rude and disrespectful. However, though, if I was paying for this channel, or someone was paying me for my audience paying me, then I would be more, even more vigilant and, saying the wrong word, even more energetic, but not hyper energetic, not a workaholic, but more paying more closer attention to detail, because I want to make quality, because I'm paying for my YouTube channel and the audience to listen to me. But since I'm not paying, and it's really more for my reference and for my own education, for my own memory, I'm not harming anybody, but the moment I realize that somebody could be harming me or stealing my information, finding a way to make me feel belittled because they have more power than me, then I unsubscribe automatically. So the little that they try to help, so the more they try to help, the more they harm, I secretly or blatantly, I unsubscribed, which is a bitch and bastard behaviour. So this video I'm planning to put out in August. So I plan to put this video out in August to say I can do whatever I want. I'm free to do whatever I want. It's not there for children. I mark it clearly that to say it isn't for children. So as long as I know I'm not harming anybody, I can do whatever I want on my YouTube channel. I'm not emotionally abusing anybody. I'm not using offensive words. But I will do this video a delay on it, because I've done enough videos now. I want to have like a space gap. It's important because it is an emotional stir of negativity, of unfair challenge and unfair competition. It's coming either from the left, right, or centre. And it's annoying, and I shouldn't have to feel annoyed because that is the case. The little that they helped, and they acknowledge that they've helped me, the more they are going to attack me for that bit of help or that bit of free information. So they don't like freebies coming from the far right, and are coming from the far left. They don't like the fact that I like to be natural, so natural. So they're threatening me because I respect nature, and I respect supernature as much as I respect nature. So being socially isolated because of COVID pandemic and these strict lockdowns is not unusual, because many people are using the internet, and I'm not any different from anybody else. But what makes me different is that they target me because I'm weak and marginalized. And this is why it becomes very wrong. So, referring to my Bible about this, I have to do it because I'm looking at those that are bullies on social media. So there's many different types of bullies, and to be a warrior for God, a prayer warrior, is to say, I'm not going to make any agreements with these bullies, even though that's what I keep telling these people. If I had the opportunity to see Mark Zuckerberg, or if I had the opportunity to meet Elon Musk, I would say the same thing. Because I'm subscribed to someone, it does not mean that I accept, tolerate, or agree with everything they've done, because they could have taken that information from me in the first place to make it look like they are on my side, or to make it look like we're copying your information, but it's a disrespectful copycat, where we're either stuck in the cat personality, which is the north, or stuck in the south personality, which is the south, biologically proven and studied. So wherever they're stuck, or wherever they're overconfident in, to say that this heart desire to minimize me, their heart desire to destroy my confidence, to put fear into me, for them to find some revenge because I laughed at them and told them that I know that they're watching me, so they want revenge for that, which is disgusting. And they even have cheerleaders to say, "Yay, you've ruined her day, and you annoyed her some more," and as worse hypocrites, to say that they're using similar tactics to me, not the same. I am not distressed emotionally or physically by what they have done to me on the internet, even if it means I'm getting harmful rays, because I normally dim my settings to block harmful rays of this light that can be a bit harsh, so I'm not blinded. Physically, it's actually my pain relief, and my problem is being disrupted, so that I'm not as much focused as I could be. That's the problem. The solution is that it helps me to remember and my memory loss that I had suffered with. And so I am happy for that. While they are cheerful for assuming that they've destroyed my weekend and they've put me in a bad mood, and they said that I'm too cursed, or I'm too gullible, that I'm too naive, and that I expect something that isn't there, and all types of unfair mental health assessments and exaggerations, and exalting the devil rather than exalting God, to say that the internet is only there for the devil, not for God, which is very serious. It's an offence. That's what offends me for using the internet, and what makes me change my mind to find a way to attack their confidence. To say appearance isn't everything. I would actually deliberately want to look ugly. I'd rather want to look disgusting so that they don't look at me. I don't want them to look at me. I would rather want to be a fat blob or something so disgusting that no one wants to look at me, that I don't want them to look at. And I realize that it's okay. Not everybody, that I'm not a people pleaser, that not everybody's going to like me. Even though my heart's desire was to have everyone like me because of the social isolation of COVID and because of me being severely disabled. I wanted sympathy, but what I wanted more than sympathy is just simplicity and gratefulness and politeness, but not everybody was polite. They chose to be rude rather than polite. So this is the simple side of copycat. And I know who's doing it. I know who is behind the scene that's cursing me or controlling me. I know who's doing it. It's a celebrity who is cursing me and controlling me. And I have been passed on from one celebrity to the next. So acting to be a Christian is not the same as being a Christian, which comes to the serious thing about these moral whistleblowers. They're evil. They would say or imagine something that I have never said or done, and they would turn the entire world against me, which is narcissism and it's witchcraft. So to gather them in, to say, there's a section in the Bible that says the people that are the opposite of moral whistleblowers and bullies, even though we cry, there's a section in the Bible, I don't know where, bringing in the sheaves or bringing in that what I worked for. Why should somebody else benefit for that what I worked for, or where I have been using it as a tool to say it's my tool, it's got my name on it, not yours, being my writing hobby. So it's a hobby, it's not a serious business, but it's still disrespectful for someone else to come along who is a total stranger to say, I'm going to take your hobby and make a business out of it because I have more free time and because I have more resources, but you're not allowed to have free time and you're not allowed to have resources, which is a bully. So even though it says we are bringing in the sheaves, going in the morning crying in the evening, but in the morning we will have that joy. So this is where God gathers God's people who are not actors being persecuted, but they are redeemed and rescued from this bullying. To say that they're targeting me on social media because I'm not a business and because I am not part of a contract that is a stage. So they have a stage, or they have live streaming. I don't have a stage, which is something that the far right does, and I don't have live streaming. So they sort of react left and right, which is political, in some type of envy or some type of jealousy, but I cannot put a pin on it or identify what their problem is. My freedom in Christ Jesus, me being able to not have a stage and not be a live streamer, makes me different from them. That's what it is that they don't like. They expect everybody to be the same using the YouTube. So that then goes against fair use community standard of fair use. Maybe I should title that in this video to say I do a lot of stretching exercises. When I purchase a treadmill machine, I may do lots of videos of me doing my exercises on there every day. It is my channel, so why is it being taken over by multi-billionaire businesses where they copy my information, make films, make adverts, make music, make all types of things that they have cherry-picked from me, either to complement themselves, that they've taken it from me, or to do a disservice and a discredit of me at the same time. So I didn't know this was going to happen, but when I realized that that's what they were doing exactly, I decided to stay away, because it is their intention to provoke me, to anger, to frustrate me, and to say they're in control as devil's advocates, and I have to fear them. I have to be in a bad mood because of them frustrated. And so this type of hypersensitivity and hyperactivity is wrong in England and in America or any other country that is foreign, and in a distant country somewhere across the sea. I'm saying it's illegal, and I'm saying I obviously need to be rescued from this. And because I have grey hairs and I suffer with bad stress and I suffer with all types of problems as a single person, because the single people with small families and marginalised communities are going to find it overwhelming to say they're ganging up on me. The billionaire versus a small business that hasn't even started yet, or a multi-billionaire who is on stage or who is a live streamer that is attacking somebody's social platform. Say that they are friendly, but behind the scenes or in front of the scenes they're doing something that is unfriendly, which is two-faced, is double dealing, and it's double trouble, and I don't want that. So I want to instruct my daughter, and if I have children in the future, to say this is wrong behaviour. So it's double deal. I've said double dealing. Double deal. I've also said a disrespectful copy. I've said invasion of privacy. Say, well, we haven't done anything illegal, we haven't done anything wrong, and at the same time they are implementing laws to protect these criminals. Double dealing. What else did I say that they're doing that's wrong? On the top of my head, I don't remember. Maybe I'm doing too many videos. If that's the case, will YouTube send me an email to say, Miss Nikolic, this is my surname currently, you are doing too many videos. But what about those that I have subscribed to, which have commercials on there, and they are paying for their channels, so they can do as many channels as many programs that they want. So I'm not competing with them, because I know that they've paid for that service to do as many videos as they want. So if it's the case that I'm doing too many videos on my YouTube, why are they sort of waiting devilishly in the bushes somewhere to ambush me, to make a new law, implement a new law or legislation which is oppressive, and then jump on me and say, we've made a new law and we can attack you now, and we can say that you're doing something wrong that I wasn't aware of. So that's another thing that what is there a word to describe that? Ambush, or make laws to suit themselves. So if I've had children in my home, I would tell them that all this is wrong, that should be illegal behavior. I would gather them up and say, what you're doing is wrong and out of order. And I would listen to my own videos, which I do, to see that I'm not having a competition to say that I'm smaller than them or that I'm bigger than them. I'm not doing my videos for that. I'm just doing my videos for other reasons, which is to look at mysteries of life, the depth of details that could be missed, of trying to understand problems and situations in order to find a solutions to the problems and situations. That's why I'm digging deeper. And also to find God's authority and say it's not only about your arrogant appearance, and it's not only about your arrogant perfect skin, perfect body, perfect whatever else you want to call perfect cooking, or perfect holidays, or perfect whatever that they have. Rather, Jesus Christ's scepter is about being able to find peace and care in the community. And that's very rare nowadays. More people are becoming careless. The love of many has grown cold. No matter what the summer is doing in hot weather, the love of many is cold, cruel and calculating. And they're saying this is for survival. And they're saying that if I'm not suspicious enough, then I'm stupid, I'm ugly, and they accuse me of being too friendly. No. I'm not too friendly. I know where to draw the line and say it stops there. You're finished. It comes to an end. Because I am friendly, but not to the point of stupidity, silliness. I like to enjoy myself, but when it comes to this extreme censorship, to say you cannot use the word fun because then you are associated with the far left. If you use the word enjoyment, then you're associated to the far right. And what word you use that come out of your mouth make you powerful for representing politics, government, authority, leaders, instead of the truth, instead of revealing mystery, solving problems, making discipline and instructions to children so that they're safe. And so that's the real focus for me. And main point of priority, rather than to be paranoid about what word I'm using so that I don't offend a political body, political mind, or a bully. It doesn't have to be anything to do with politics. It could be a boogeyman. It could be a boogie woman. It could be my neighbour. It could be my work person. It could be someone in my domestic setting from one of my relatives that don't like a single word I've used. And I can't please and be perfect of all the words that I use to satisfy and make everybody feel safe. But I do my best, because I don't like to use vile words and words that have sexually explicit descriptions. I do my best not to offend anybody, so that it's like a jubilee celebration where we have so many people gather together to try and be united in the name of God, rather than being united in the name of money, what money can do and what weapons can do. We want to unite in the name of God. So I probably will title this video Unity and what that means to me. And I plan to post it in August, or I will post it immediately, because people may wonder why I have suddenly unsubscribed. So now they have a reason, and so therefore they cannot make any assumptions, because the more assumptions they do, the more that is increased to assume, the more they disrespect me, and they are determined that I decrease, which is a bully. So the more my bully assumes a negative thing, the more they're determined for me to decrease. So they assume, they increase their assumptions, go up. Why is she different? Why did she unsubscribe? And I just look at body language. I look at people like give a smirk on their face, or maybe look sideways to say, I'm going to make some trouble, I'm a troublemaker, and I'm going to abuse my positions of power, or I'm going to be a double agent. So I've said that I was going to be a double agent as a joke on Facebook, because I was learning things. So not everybody's in my shoes, and yet everybody who is subscribed to me, or I am subscribed to, may increase their assumptions to say that I'm a double agent for the wrong reason. So if I say I'm a double agent, it's because I'm studying from a foreign country, for example. That does not mean that I am one unity with their government, with their politics, with their gangsters, and with their celebrities. It does not mean that I'm one united with them. It means I am educating myself about that country, about their history, about their roots, and so on. So it's a separate reason why I'm a double agent, compared to somebody who actually is a double agent for a government, for a gangster, for a celebrity, for causing trouble. And I'm not even saying that I'm extremely a peacemaker, because I'm also a warrior, and I believe that God is a warrior, and God is not an extreme love image, even though God is love, the definition of love. God is also a warrior. So to be balanced, I obviously have to fight this the increase of these negative assumptions, and so this is the main reason why I had unsubscribed, because they're judging me in the corner, in the court, without me even realizing what they're saying, what they're doing, Are they doing it for my interest, or are they doing it to create a crisis? Are they doing it for somebody else's interest? Are they putting a man ahead of me because I have said God is ahead of me? What are they doing? What are you doing? That's what I demand to know. And so I'm saying, if it starts to be so negative that they get to have more quality information than I do about my care plan, about my neighborhood, about my local police, about my local government, about any gangster or anything that they're trying to set me up and frame me in, I need to know before I die. I need to know what the hell they're doing to implement a new law or to threaten me with. So this is why it's negative, because if they're going to fight me in this way, I have to fight back. And it's very wrong that they even get to do all types of black magic. And I want to avoid this. And like in England, there's a new word that I learned, and I don't remember it now on the top of my head. that made me laugh, which was to describe, avoid someone. Don't subscribe to that individual. It's a testy thing. It's a testy. It's like a sieve. So they're saying that their sieve is more important than my sieve because they have that professional power. And let them think that. I haven't stopped them thinking that. They can carry on thinking that. If they want to be a sieve, they can be a sieve. If they want to be a weapon, they can be a weapon. If they want to be the head on the money, where you print the money and then you have the royal head on it, then let them have the royal head on it. I've never stopped them. I've never said stop. But I have warned to say that is not what I want for me. It may be what you want, but it's not what I want. So we need to know the difference. Otherwise, you are a terrorist. When you force people to think like you, and when you assume that people have the same goals as you, or motives as you, it's a negative behavior, which is criminal. So assuming something without God's permission about a negative thing, that you're judging somebody wrongly, or being a double agent about a negative thing, is a criminal behavior. Not in all cases, but in most cases it is. So it's embarrassing, it's shameful, and they have no shame, which is another thing that I want to instruct my children to know what is to be embarrassed and ashamed of. And they have no shame. I don't want people that have no shame subscribing to my channel, or everything that I would instruct my children not to do and they want to do. I want them to stay away. You have this mind of being as an adolescent or a child that hasn't fully matured, or you have a mind of that which is too serious and too stiff-necked, where you're narrow-minded, you only see one way. These type of people are extreme, which I don't want subscribing to my channel. And so the people want their power back on YouTube, so that would want me to pay for YouTube, because I can choose who follows me, and I could respectfully block someone without threatening their lives, or without causing trouble and a crisis for them. To say, I don't want to accept what you accept to be normal, and I have my human rights to do. So this is my right to be different, my right to say this is normal, that is not normal, without somebody else telling me that, who is not my relative. Those that are my relatives, however, do have a right by God to tell me that. So we have to make a difference between those that are our relatives on our YouTube channel compared to those who are not our relatives on YouTube channel. That's another error, major error on YouTube or any other social community. To say the human right, who has the right to tell me, not necessarily tell me what to do, but to tell me this is normal and this is not normal. This is going to be discrediting and this isn't. So I should be able to choose which relatives, because every one of us have bad relatives, which would make the children scream and shout and make them have scary thoughts. So we don't want to assume that they have that unity for being our relative, or because for being a Christian, or being any other professional title, such as a teacher. So therefore I have to accept unity with this individual or group. People need freedom to choose who they should unite with. And that's why it is criminal to say, I am now united with someone because it's a coincidence, when it isn't a coincidence at all. They're doing emotional staring to find what. I've noticed that when I do a video and upload it, the AI or the system on YouTube would pop up a video that they assume is the same as me, when in fact it is the opposite of me that is going to offend me. Or it's the opposite of me, or is the same as me, that is going to offend me. So I've noticed that, and they do it deliberately to annoy and frustrate me, which doesn't make safety. So everybody wants that safety. It's not only the police officer or only the teacher or only the religious person. Everybody wants that safety to say, whenever I upload a video, should I have to subscribe or listen to somebody who's just popped up with a similar title or exactly the same title as a copy, but it's a different person saying something else? So this makes me think that somehow I'm being abducted, or I'm being trafficked on the internet, which is a spiritual abduction as much as there is a physical abduction, or having someone kidnap a child physically can be as emotionally damaging and emotionally abusive, to have continuously have things pop in your face to say, pick me, choose me, I'm like you, me too society, when in fact they're the opposite of me, which is nothing to do with unity. It's the opposite. So some opposites are holy, but in most cases opposites are unholy. And I had to learn the hard way. But I'm still learning. I'm still open-minded to find out what makes you so different from me, and is it going to impact me in a positive way or negative way? If it's negative, unsubscribe. Whether it is opposite or exactly the same, identical, or I still unsubscribe because it has a wrong effect on me. To say this is disrespectful, this is rude, this is wrong, so I'm going to unsubscribe. So I've deliberately done that to see how they would start behaving, or how they would start betraying me and destroying me. I've deliberately done that. So what does a woman do when she's stretching? She's either giving birth to a baby, or she's doing exercise, or she's having sex. Now, I didn't ever download any sexual material with my knowledge, ever. And so, and I never planned to. Even in the case of torture and torment, it's against my will. Living or dead, to have sexual content of me put on the internet. So there's very spiteful individuals out there that could even remake my videos and make it look like I'm saying something that I'm not saying, to use me as an experiment, a social experiment, which is extremely cruel and nasty. So people such as Meghan Markle and Harry can do that against me because they're royals and because they don't live in England. They can copy my videos and content and then put to practice illegal things to make it look like I'm saying something that I'm not saying, which is abusive. It's a bully. But I'm just using an example of that couple because they know what Britain is capable of doing through the internet. So the fact that they live in a different country gives them the right to say that the law in a different country is not applicable. So they can use me, for example, that couple or any other couple, to make it look like I'm saying something that I'm not saying or doing something that I'm not doing, which is extremely not nasty. Extremely nasty. So I've been on here now for 56 minutes. And it's a haunting, it's a taunting. So according to Zechariah chapter 11, it says, "Open your gate, Lebanon, fire will burn you and your cedar trees." And it says here, whatever that word is, I don't know, Junipper, cedar tree, majestic trees ravaged, oak trees of Bashan, the forests. So there you've got individuals that told me don't go to the forests. They know who they are. I'm not going to say who they are. But I just had this spiritual feeling that they were talking to me. They could have been talking to someone else that had nothing to do with me. Or they were using something to frighten me or to deter me, to make a deterrent from these pesky no people, to say I would be putting myself in danger for going into the forest. And if I do that, then I'm the one who's stupid and doing self-harm because I'd gone to the forest. I don't know what they mean by that. Because again, they are worshipping the devil by actually being fearmongers and by not telling me what they mean by that. So if you're going to speak in tongues and coded language, you must have an interpretation, particularly if you call yourself religious. Where there is no interpretation of what you mean by that, makes you a false religious individual, and it makes you worship fallen and rebellious, stubborn, bad angels, because there's no interpretation of your coded language or your speaking in tongues. So therefore, you have done fear-mongering on me. You've insulted me because you know that I already came from the forest, and you have put me lower, to the lowest point, to say that my God cannot be worshipped when I hit rock bottom. In fact, Emmanuel, God is with us, God is suffering with us. So when we hit rock bottom, God is closest to us. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm broken-hearted. It just means that it doesn't necessarily mean I'm frustrated. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm furious. I want to kill everybody. Because my battle If I have any envy, if I have any jealousy, if I have any anger, I give it to God. Therefore, my battles belong with God, not with man or human or anybody else. So also, these devilish entities will come along and say, oh, we want to fight your battle too. Can we join in? And I'm saying, no, you can't join in. Get lost. So that's how you have Satan falling down from the sky, and Jesus saying, you, the fallen angels, and your representatives have fallen down onto earth as a lightning bolt and thunder. How did you fall down? That's how bright, how powerful, and how strong the bad angels are. But then you have the good angels who represent God, who are even more powerful than it, because the victory it belongs to God Almighty. The battle between good and evil has already been won. That's my point here. So they don't believe. That's why they're attacking me. And I'm saying, hold on a minute. I already come from the forest, and that's the taunting against them, because they're looking things from a negative perspective to say that everything associated to trees is an instant curse and a rebellion against God. It's an instant scary thing, as in Wizard of Oz film, where you have those trees who were the spies for the witch, and also the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. You have the trees that were the spies for the witch, and other children's animated programs that say this negative stereotype. And so stereotypes, not only looking at trees, but looking at our race, looking at our language and the words that we use, are extremely dangerous. It is a witchcraft to say, if I sing or if I say anything that opposes the actual witches and wizards that have created stereotypes, I will be attacked, because I'm exposing they're the ones who are wicked and wrong. So they can say la 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 la, sing and have freedom of speech because they represent the devil, compared to those that say la 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 la, sing and have freedom of speech for God. Can we now see the difference between the two powers? So to declare this in Zechariah chapter 11, the taunt against the enemies. So if you really are representing God, you would be a shepherd to protect God's people who have hit rock bottom, not under a false guise or a devil's advocate to say you're only doing it partially so that you can steal information from us, or so that you can threaten us, so that we can be robbed and raped and have some type of crisis, which is disgusting. It's immoral, it's wicked, and it's a witch and a wizard using the internet for that, which is a crime against humanity, particularly the most vulnerable and marginalized in society. So God says there are two types of shepherds. There's that one that always cries, wolf, 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 and there's no wolf, and misguides everybody. And there is that one that suffers in silence, and when the right time comes, will be prepared to show everybody who's boss against the wolf when it does come. There's two types of wolves in the woods. There's also two types of every animals that have hooves and animals that don't have hooves. One which is described in the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. One is for the witch, these animals that have a battlefield, and the other one is for God. There's two types of characteristics in every film, for children and for adults. One is for the devil, the other one is for God. So there's two types of everything. Just like God had taken the animals to go into Noah's boat, it was God who sent them two by two, by the animal breed and species. They all went in two by two. It wasn't Noah who was calling, it was God who was calling, and they went onto the boat two by two. So that means possibly one of them was carrying a bad angel and the other one had the good angel with them. That had to be defeated. That's the whole point of life. So that that is why God's Son was sent, who is Jesus Christ, that I've got hairs in my eyes, had warned us at the end of time. It says one will be taken suddenly to be a witness for God by blinking of an eye, raptured in the book of love. The other one is not. The other one is destined to go to hell. Even your spouse, even your children, looking the difference between two and two. So this is why it warns us that mother will be against daughter, daughter will be against mother, father will be against son, son will be against father, because of this battle between good and evil. Who is raptured in the book of love? Who is representing God and who is not? So that's the proclamation and declaration in the book of Zechariah, chapter 11. Disaster to the shepherds that only feed themselves. May the sword attack their arm and their right arm. May the arm be shriveled completely and their right eye totally blinded. But because maybe they have been poisoned in the woods, precisely because of these stereotypes. So that's how I close my video, in saying all the things I would teach my children that I don't have the opportunity to teach because of being persecuted. And so I'm not saying that all Christians have to be persecuted to find Jesus. You could find Jesus in pain, you can find Jesus in pleasure. But the point is, God came to suffer with us so that we can eliminate our problems and make our pain less painful. That's how I close my videos. Maya Maria Marina. Love is pain relief. Early July 2023.